Welcome to the Emo Social Club podcast, the podcast about music, news, and interviews. I am Brian.
And I'm Lizzie, and we are here with our friends in Northbound. Jonathan, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me. This is sick.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself, the band Northbound. You're the guy. You're the Northbound guy. So tell us a little bit more about it.
It's true. So I'm Jonathan. I've been doing Northbound since 2012, so it's been a while. The project kind of exists in like a hybrid state between like a solo project and a band. It's kind of like Say Anything in the way that it's Max's band. Like it's my band and I write the songs, but I definitely couldn't do it without other people. But yeah, make like pop punk type music, and it's a lot of fun.
I definitely heard some Say Anything influence. I was also going to say a little bit of like Wonder Years movements, like kind of that sort of vibe. Would that be how you describe your sound?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely Say Anything. I think just like lyrically, I really kind of try to do what he does, where he just kind of like says how he's feeling. But yeah, I've gotten the Wonder Years before too, just in like the storytelling kind of aspect of it, where it's like a little less poetry and a little bit more like journaling, you know?
Yeah. Max seems very scatterbrained with his thoughts sometimes, whereas the Wonder Years is a little bit more like, I'm very specifically saying this about this thing.
Yeah, I was here with this person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very specific, like, Dan, I don't know where that is. I'm not from Philadelphia.
He wants to paint a picture,
Yeah.
though. Like, you are there so you understand how much pain he's in.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, even with some of your other songs, too, it gave me this, like, the starting line feel as well. And I feel like that sound is starting to come back a lot more. We recently just saw Bike Routes open up for Hawthorne Heights, and we literally looked at each other and said, is this the starting line?
Yeah.
I feel like that sound is becoming a lot more evident again in the scene with a lot of these like projects either going in that direction for one way or another, or even trying to switch it up a bit. So what could you really describe what your sound is, kind of like distilled down fully?
I don't know. For me, I just make the stuff that sounds like the stuff that was formative to me when I was growing up. So I was born in 93. And so when I was 10 years old, I heard Take This to Your Grave by Fall Out Boy for the first time. And that kind of changed everything for me. So I think like the starting line is also like a huge influence for me. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like that kind of turn of the millennium pop punk before pop punk got 2010s-ified. You know what I mean? It's like
True.
it's like that that's like millennial pop punk, I guess, which is like millennial is like kind of a dirty word on the internet. But people like to give millennials shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, you're right. Being almost 40, I'm like, nah, like I'm taking it back and I'm defending myself.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
that's where
let's
you get the
reclaim it.
elder. You get the elder millennial.
Sure. It's all-
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I was born in this weird spot, like right between like Gen Z and millennial, but I feel much more in line with being a millennial than I do being Gen Z. Some of my friends are like a little bit younger, and I'm like, literally, what the fuck are you saying?
It's
like, I don't even know your lingo. Like, I have no idea what you're saying.
It's so weird. And like I've found so many people who like are a little bit older, closer to my age, who like when the phrase "it gives me the ick" started to become like a thing that everybody was saying, I was like, no. Like, you are a millennial. You can't say that. Like, leave that for children. That's not our word.
Yeah.
Like, we shouldn't say it. You sound so old and so like trying to look hip with the kids. Like,
I said
Yeah.
icky and yucky the other day, and you look like you were about to murder me on sight.
icky is fine. It's give him the ick or give me the ick. And it's like,
anything giving. Yeah.
yeah.
People
It's giving,
are saying that too, like, oh, it's giving. It's giving depression, you know, or like
Yeah.
whatever people are saying.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
seen some really cringe TikToks where it's like you're on a date with somebody who has TikTok brain rot, and it's them literally throwing in every single, basically like hype phrase or anything
Yeah.
like that within like 1 minute, and I feel my brain just oozing out of my ears.
Yeah, I literally posted that TikTok on my Instagram story the other day, and I was like, "This is how it feels talking to y'all," because it was
Yeah.
like, I saw it. It was like not us being on a first date, so cringe,
Yeah.
like all that.
So,
So cringe.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, I was
I
born
saw the
in
video.
94, so I get it. But I also teach college students, and I'll be like, oh, I'll use like certain TikTok lingo, and they look at me like, what? And I'm like, I don't know, homie. We're all in this together. We're figuring it out here.
yeah. That's funny.
Let's make sure we also talk about your music and not just the starting line and children on the internet.
Oh, sure.
But you have a record that's coming out on
Wow.
July 12th. Right.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's called Juniper. Do you want to tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about it?
Sure. Juniper, it's my 4th record, which is insane. I really wanted to make a record that was fun to listen to and that could kind of give you that nostalgic feeling, like as y'all were saying, like that era of music is kind of having a comeback, and I've kind of always made that kind of music, but I really wanted to make a fun record. A lot of my stuff in the past has been pretty like quite brooding and sad, and just getting a little bit older, and my life is leveling out a little bit, and my brain is developed, and I think I feel a little bit more normal. So I don't know. It's a fun record. It's 10 songs. They're all like fast punk songs, I guess. And I don't know. I don't know how to describe it or anything, but I'm really excited about it. I haven't put out music. I haven't put out like a body of work in quite a while. I think it was like 2019 was the last album. So yeah, it's been like, it's been a long time coming, and it's the result of a lot of change in my life. And like I moved cross country, and I moved from Florida to California. Everything in my life changed, and this record reflects that, for sure. Is that good?
No, that's
Sure,
great.
yeah.
No, yeah.
That sells it to me.
It sounds legit. I guess it covers it. Well, I also think, interestingly enough, so your single Big Tune, compared to the other songs that are on this album, it's much more in this more modernized, like, emo pop punk revival sound that we have compared to everything else on the album, but it fits well. So what made you kind of want to change that level of sound for that one song on the record, and the others are kind of a little bit more in that kind of like traditional vein that you've already been working within?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Big Tune was like a result of like frustration. It's kind of like a song just about like, I'm tired of the internet. I'm tired of like, managers in LA telling me that like I need to chase virality on TikTok, and I'm kind of tired of like all of that shit, and it just came out how it came out, honestly. There wasn't like an intention to like make it different or whatever, but I do think it is like a standout. It's not even close to my favorite song on the record, but it is a song that I thought would be like, this is where I'm at, this is who I am, take it or leave it kind of energy. But yeah, the rest of the record definitely goes a little bit like deeper and more kind of like cerebral, where that's more of just like dude, I just want to play loud music in a room with my friends, and like I want to have fun again. Like I'm sure we'll get into the internet and all that stuff as we're in like a similar age bracket. But, I don't know. It's just like frustration and just like sarcasm, like say anything kind of energy.
I think it's interesting that you were saying like a lot of your other music has been more brooding, and this one's a little bit more upbeat, fast punk music that's like, it sounds like, you're coming in with this like frustration, but you're also like, I don't want to make it sound like I'm angry. I want to make it sound like I want to have fun. And it's like, that's also
Yeah.
like Say Anything, where it's like the world sucks, but anyway, here's like a really bright, poppy, like pop punk fast song about like this thing that really pisses me the fuck off. Like, how do you kind of
Yeah.
balance that?
Yeah, I don't know. I really like, it was a big, like, I remember when I started, because like between every record I write like a million songs, and then I have to, you know, whittle it down to the ones that I think are the best or that like are the most cohesive. And I remember like journaling about the record and like just I like to write things down. So I was like just writing all my songs and like what the feeling is and what I want this record to be. And like I was thinking of the colors and thinking of like the tempo and like all of that stuff. So I definitely like went into the whole thing with an awareness of that. But like the balance of those two things, I don't know. I think they all exist within everyone. Like I definitely have my brooding kind of like sad, you know, like stuff that happens. But I think I wanted to be intentional about like what kind of energy I was putting into the world. You know what I mean? Like on some like fake spiritual shit about just like I don't want to like complain anymore. Like I don't want to like be crying in the corner. I want to like acknowledge that things are fucked up, but also just like, yeah, what are we going to do about it? Like let's party about it. You know what I mean? Like let's have fun, you know? So yeah, like the lyrical content is definitely like emotive. You know what I'm saying? It's not all like fuck off vibes. It's just the energy of my psyche when making it was fuck off vibes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I wanted to call the album Fuck Off Forever, and my label would not let me would not let me do it.
Can't even like do the little asterisks in there and make it okay.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. But
which is funny because it's smart punk and they're just like punk guys.
Yeah, they are punk guys who care about music.
Yeah.
But yeah, they let me have it on Big Tune parentheses Fuck Off Forever instead of on the album title. They're like, that feels kind of negative, right, John? And I was like, you're right. Maybe I shouldn't make the name of the album something so negative.
Putting out the positivity into the world. It's I had a really good question and now it's blanking in my brain. But yeah, I think that it's like I like what you're saying about like putting that positive energy out into the world, because it is like, I think that a lot more bands and a lot more artists are like, I want to create something that feels good, that and also like gets out that energy. And I feel like the fans are also connecting with that a little bit more. Like I don't want I don't want somebody who like is making me cry all the time. I want somebody who's making me cry while I'm dancing, you know. It makes me like want to drive around and be like I'm singing songs that make me really sad, but the windows are down and the sun is out and I feel good.
Yeah, totally. There's this song, I can't remember the lyrics of it or who it's by, but there's a song where the lyric says like, oh, I think it's a Frank Ocean song, where he says, now and then you miss it, something. Sometimes you dance with tears in your eyes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love that. Like, I love that vibe. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think it can still be positive and be fuck off energy. You know, I think for me, like, at least anger is like an empowered state of being, as opposed to like sadness and gloom feels like a victimization thing that I've struggled with. Like, I'm not saying other people, like I've struggled with feeling like that. So it's like, yeah, I just want it to be empowering, I guess.
I like that.
I think too, like you want to be so empowered when we have so much like craziness going on in life. And I think also when you were talking about like, oh, I hate the internet and everything of that nature, when you try to put things out, it gets misconstrued so much. So I think it's just also so interesting that you're trying to do this in like an era where we are all trying to navigate things. And every time we do put something out that's positive, people will immediately say, oh, but did you mean it this way? And you're like, homie, I'm telling you, please just have a good time.
Yeah, like it's fine. Like it's not that deep sometimes. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. I really thought, it's funny because it's like, yeah, I am coming at it with this energy, but I'm also like, I have like a creative director that I'm working with for the first time ever. And like, we're putting a lot of thought into the social media stuff for this album. And like, we spent some real money on making shit look cool so I could post on TikTok and all that stuff. And, it's kind of like, no one's going to listen to it if I don't do anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, there's a bit of like, and if I can't beat him, join him, and like kind of surrendering to the reality of like what it is to be an artist in 2024. But I just wanted to do things in a way that like didn't make me cringe at myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It might make other people cringe, and that's kind of on them. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense.
It does.
But it's weird.
Yeah.
Like I'm focused on it, and I care about the internet more than I ever have as a musician. Cuz like when I was coming up, like I feel like the only reason I have any audience whatsoever is because I put in like 10 years doing DIY touring, doing like good support tours once or twice a year. You know what I mean? Like we would go book a US tour and sleep in a van for 4 weeks, and then we'd go open for state champs.
Yeah.
And then we'd finish that, and then we'd go back to like living like shit again, like on these DIY tours and like just meeting a lot of people. So it's like I'm kind of unfamiliar with like how to grow in like the new era of the internet, like post-COVID touring, and like what does it even look like and all that stuff. So it's like I resent it, but I also understand that it's like it's just part of what I have to do.
I definitely get where you're coming from, because it's like in the same way that people would stand outside of a show and hand out flyers or hand out samplers, go to Warped Tour and be like, here, listen to my band, put these headphones on that have been on like 80 other heads in this line already.
Yeah.
Put this on your head and listen to my band. It's like that, but now how do you do that when there's no one in line, or there is no place to go physically to be around people who are interested in hearing your band, and you kind of got to find them where they're at. And I mean, everybody like who's doing anything in their passion, who has to like quote unquote sell it to somebody, has to like find their way of doing it in a way that doesn't make them feel gross. I was almost going to say icky, and I'm like, can't say it now. I already said on the recording, I can't say it. But it's like, how do I do that in a way that's authentic to me, that doesn't make me feel gross, while also doing something that is for a system that I never wanted to participate in? Because I really like the aspect of going up to somebody and saying, hey, we both like this band. Would you also maybe be interested in this other band? Yeah.
Like I think it's just like having awareness of what the reality is right now. And like, I don't want to be one of those old people who like when Elvis came out and was like dancing the way he danced, everyone's like, it's so inappropriate. Like, why is he moving like that? You know, I don't want to be on that side of like TikTok being like, oh, this is so stupid. Why are you guys doing that? It's like, no, like, also I think for me, like what helps is just like acknowledging it, like acknowledging that this might be cringe. Like in that song, Big Tune, like there's a line where I literally say, I'll monetize my weakness and pretend that I don't see it. It's like, I'm telling everyone right now, like, yeah, I'm going to have to monetize this in like a weird way. I'm going to have to do it. And I'm going to, you know, I know what's going on. You know what I mean? I know what I have to do.
Let me ask you too, since you are originally from Florida and just moved to LA, was that kind of like for the purpose of like making the band happen and getting things off the ground, working with people in the industry out there, and it's kind of a Hail Mary attempt to make the band happen, as some people do, as I thought about doing when I was like 16, and I'm like, I got to go to LA and make my band happen. Then I'm like,
yeah. You know, honestly, it wasn't. When I moved here, I was actually kind of unsure if I was going to even keep doing it. Yeah, like Juniper, I thought for a while, because I was in a very, very dark and like cynical place about everything we're talking about, and I was not open to putting myself out there, and I was going through a lot and a lot of changes and all that stuff. But when I was making Juniper, I was like, this is my goodbye record. And I don't know, then like something changed in me where I was just like, I'm never going to stop doing this. Like, I don't think I'm capable of stopping even. But yeah, like the last song on the record is called I Can't Say Goodbye, So I'll Just Leave. And it's about just like literally dropping the album and just fucking off. You know what I mean? So no, I didn't come here with that in mind. I just, over the last couple of years, a bunch of my friends moved here, and like one of my best friends in the world literally lives, two of my best friends in the world live within 1 mile of me. And
Hell yeah.
like that was a huge reason. And also like the opportunity to move here kind of just fell into my lap. I was out here visiting my good friend and producer Sam, and he was moving out here from Toronto, and he was coming here for like industry stuff. And our birthdays are really close together, and we had just finished the album. So he was like, oh, you should come out to LA like for your birthday, for my birthday, like we'll hang out. And I came out here and I met this girl that was looking for a roommate and like was down to give me the room at like a really reasonable cost. And like we got along really well. And I was just here visiting. And then like a month later, I was moving here. Like it was very spur of the moment, spontaneous, not planned. And, but now that I'm here, like, yeah, like I'm in like influencer territory. So there is like, you know, like I live in the San Fernando Valley. I'm like around all of that all the time. So it's like, yeah, like, sure, like I meet people out and about, and sometimes that leads to connections or whatnot, but it definitely wasn't like it wasn't the Hail Mary, but it might be becoming the Hail Mary. You know what I mean? It might be like, oh, well, I'm here, so I might as well like meet people and hang out. And I don't know, sorry, this is kind of long-winded, but I spent a lot of my 20s, like in like a long relationship and just kind of chilling at home and touring. And I don't know, I was like approaching 30 and I got a little bit midlife-y, and I was just like, what am I doing? Like, I need to like get the fuck out of here. Like, I was still with my parents until I was 29 because I was touring so much. I was like, there's no point in moving out and spending money. So I don't know. It just became what I did somehow. You know, I'm here somehow and I love it. Which is crazy. Like I was really scared I wasn't going to love it. And the first couple times I came to LA to like play shows or whatnot, I was like, I could never live here. Like, this place is insane. And it is, but I kind of like that now. Like, I'm kind of in this era of like, I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to not care and have fun and like enjoy things. And it's a good place to do that.
Yeah. At least you moved from like being from Chicago. Whenever someone's like, "Oh, yeah, I moved to Chicago from like L.A. or Florida or Texas or something like that," I'm just like, "Why?" Like, you moved from like very nice weather to fucking like 40 degrees for 7 months of the year. 40 degrees or less for 7 months of the year.
Listen, we have seasons. That's great.
I've lived here my entire life. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, I like Chicago, honestly, but I don't know that I could live there. But I said the same thing about LA, so I'm sure, I'm sure it would be fine. I've got a good amount of friends out there.
Yeah,
it's fun. I like visiting.
Yeah, it's a good spot for music. It's a good spot for like the scene. It just, for a few months out of the year, it just absolutely fucking sucks. And then summer comes, like now that it's getting warm, it's like, it's finally fun to be in Chicago again.
Yeah. Yeah. Where do you guys stay at in Chicago?
We're both in Logan Square, actually.
Yeah,
When
we're
you said-
literally like a 5-minute
Yeah.
walk from each other.
when you said like best friends living within a mile from me, it's like, yeah, we live like down the street
Yeah.
from each other.
That's so cool. Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah.
What was funny too is that like you, I just moved out of my parents' place and I was 28 last year, so it was like the first time I'm like
Yeah.
out, and then it's just like, oh yeah, now do I have to figure out if I need to leave again? So I get that whole like midlife crisis when you're
Yeah.
not even like technically midlife.
Yeah. Yeah. I said quarter life crisis to someone and they were like, I think you mean midlife. And I was like,
No,
all right.
quarter
like, you
life
think
is
I'm gonna
25 because I definitely
Like,
had
you-
one at 25 when my frontal lobe finally developed.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, so you think I'm gonna die at 60
Yeah.
maximum. Thank you for calling this midlife, you know?
A lot of people don't like it when you make the reference to midlife crisis and you say, because it's the only thing I can control, especially your therapist. Your therapist really does not like those jokes from experience.
Oh, interesting.
I thought it was really funny. And I'm like, the context of me saying that in therapy is objectively hilarious and you have to laugh with me. She's like, I really don't. I'm like, you're right. But
Oh my
you
God.
could.
Hey, boundaries. Your therapist has good boundaries.
Yeah.
I was gonna
I
say,
know.
she sounds. Listen, I'll say stuff like that to Kevin, my therapist, and he's just like, "I get that it's funny, but now we have to unpack it." And I said,
Yeah,
"I really
he's
played
gonna go-
myself here."
I know plenty of people who are therapists and like they post on their Instagram. They're just like, when someone makes a joke like this in therapy and I can't respond to it, but I did think it was funny and now I'm posting it to my followers. And it's like, all right, I see you. Like, I'm gonna give you a
Yeah.
good story for later.
That's funny.
It's like being a mandated reporter. I had some students because we're so close in age. They're like, "Oh, I had this wild weekend." I'll be like, "Hey, you need to stop."
Don't tell me.
Because I will legally have to report whatever you're about to say, and there's going to be way bigger problems for you than whatever you're about to experience the next day.
Yeah. What is the most emo song you are listening to right now?
God. I don't know. Can I look at my Spotify?
Yes.
You can, yeah. And it doesn't have to be like,
Generically.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be
My Chemical
genre
Romance.
emo. It could be like anything emo. Like
saddest
makes
song
you
I'm
feel
listening
that way.
to is this Taylor Swift record. It's like, yeah, well, all right. That's the most emo thing you're listening to.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, you know what? I know. There's this song called "Your Apartment" by the band Wallows. That is quite a sad one that I really like right now.
Yeah.
It's a good one, but it is very sad.
It's so sad when he just says like, "I wonder who's been at your apartment." I'm just like, oh
It's like this
Don't,
man is
don't,
wrecked by
don't.
Lydia Knight.
yeah.
I think it's interesting that you mentioned like that your music, you're trying to put out more like high spirits with sad lyrics into the world. And there's a lot of bands who are maybe not known for like being emo or pop punk that are like, I'm going to make the saddest shit you ever heard. And they're like, I want to put that out into the world, even though they're not like considered an emo band, or they're not like, they're not playing
Yeah.
when we were young.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what they do. I don't really know much about that band Wallows. I just know they're like very, very big.
Yeah.
Right? They got the 13 Reasons Why guy.
Yeah.
They're
that
fun
band, that
live.
actor.
I've seen them a few times live. They're very, very fun. Ironically, I've gotten my sunglasses busted off my face in their pit, and I was not anticipating that.
Wow.
It's
So I urge everyone to go see Wallows.
it's interesting to be like, yeah, they wrote this really sad song, and it's the dude from 13 Reasons Why. Anyway, their live shows are super fun and upbeat, and yeah, it's like really good.
Yeah.
It's like, no,
That guy's like attached to the darkest show ever.
Yeah.
Like, it's a great show, actually, but it's
I
fucking
forgot about
dark.
that till someone brought it up recently. They're like, yeah, they had to edit it. And I was like, I don't even I remember reading the book in high school.
Oh, damn. I didn't even know there was a book.
It's
Yeah.
from a book. That's the only reason thing I know. I've never watched it, but I remember seeing all the reviews of it. I'm like, oh, they really went full force from the book here. I see. I love the dedication to staying to the book.
Damn it.
Yeah.
All right. So our next question we got for you: what was the inspiration behind your single North Star?
Change. I think change. Yeah, that one's really about like looking around and seeing your role in someone's life changing, and like what that feels like. And it's a dark feeling, but I think the song is also kind of like a hopeful thing of just like, yeah, like that's things are changing, and like maybe that's okay, and maybe we're just both human, and maybe you don't owe me anything and I don't owe you anything, and like it's all good, you know. That's like lyrically and what it's about, and the music is very like take off your pants and jacket, Blink-182 feeling to me. Like we were like directly referencing a song on that record when we were making it, because we were kind of like, I write everything on acoustic, so we were kind of unsure like how to full bandify that song. We were like, should we go like fast pop punk beat, or should we go like open halftime, you know? And then we just referenced I don't even remember what song it was, but we referenced a song on Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, and like kind of went for that vibe, kind of fast.
It's interesting to be so introspective and then be like, but Blink-182, which like, I know, because like you did the cover of Feeling This, and like,
Yeah.
I think the Untitled record itself is very, it's a way more introspective record than the earlier Blink stuff. And like, I was never a huge fan of Blink because I was more into bands that were more introspective, and didn't really get into Untitled until a bit later. But then I was like, oh wow, like they really made like a record that I would have loved if I was actually really into Blink. I would have been like, this is like that emo, like right at the right time. So it's funny that like most people probably associate Blink with not being super introspective, but I think some of their best material is when they have been the most introspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they also kind of like ride the line of like being sarcastic and joking, but I think they're, especially on Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, there's like some songs that are like more emotive, I guess. And it's cool. I agree. I think the Untitled record is like one of the best records of all time.
Seriously.
I know you didn't say that, but I agree that it's good.
I'm not disagreeing with you by any means. I do think that record is spectacular, and I feel bad for myself that it took me so long to get into it. I think it's just because, you know, they put out songs like The Rock Show, and I'm like, I'm okay. Like, what does this really say? You know, me being like the emo kid wearing my hoodie in class in high school and throwing up the hood and being like, I don't care about this band because they're just like talking about like the Warped Tour and like girls all the time, and like I'm sad.
Yeah.
And I'm like feeling like, now I'm like, oh shit, like I want to listen to The Rock Show because like all the other shit is so fucking heavy. Like now I just want to put on The Rock Show and like jump up and down.
Yeah. Apparently the lore with that song is that they signed to like their first major label deal, and then the label was like, you must write a song that is for the radio. And like that's what they came up with, and they did not. Apparently like the story is that they don't really like that song because it was like kind of like throwaway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't about anything.
Yeah. And then of course all the fans love it, and it gets them major MTV and radio play, and it's like, well, shit.
Yeah, it did the thing. It did the thing they wanted it to do.
Yeah.
It did the thing that all the record execs wanted, and then they were like, oh shit, like, played ourselves here, I guess.
It's always that song too.
Yeah, but they can, you know, sob their way to the bank about that. you
Yeah.
know?
I was about to say, they're all, I mean, one of them's married to a Kardashian too. Like, listen, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This next question is about the music scene you're from. So we could talk about Florida since you spent most of your time there. I know you're in LA, but this question will be about Florida and where you're from. So what is the music scene like in your city?
There's a lot of cool shit going on. I feel like there was a dip for a while. When I was like starting out, like hardcore music was really, really big in South Florida. A lot of cool bands, but Now, unfortunately, I do feel kind of like estranged from the South Florida scene. But yeah, it's cool. There's a lot of talented bands, honestly. And it's like, sometimes, not to be like inherently shit talky or something, but sometimes when you go on tour, especially in like DIY tours, and you play with some bands and you play in some cities that, you know, they're like, there's just like, there's not much going on there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that always made me look at South Florida with like more love and appreciation, because like there is a lot of cool stuff going on down there. And yeah, we were really lucky, like with really good venues and stuff. Like we had that, like, I don't know if I said it on this interview, but the Talent Farm, like we had a place called Limitless Studios. Like we had all these really nice venues, and there was always a place to play, you know. So, it seems like it's strong. It seems like it's strong. I do feel kind of removed from it though, which it makes me a little bit sad. But it's cool. My buddy Andy, who plays guitar in Northbound, is playing drums for a band called Woolbright right now from South Florida. And they're really cool, like alternative kind of indie emo thing. And yeah, there's cool stuff.
Sick.
Awesome. So why were the singles Big Tune, North Star, and Science chosen?
Big Tune was chosen because I think it like really encapsulates the headspace that I was in, about just kind of like being authentic and saying whatever the hell I want and being who I am. I think North Star got chosen because it's got a good hook. It's got a catchy chorus, and I am hoping that the people resonate with that. And it's funny that with Science, I believe that Science is more of a deep cut. And what I did is I put out Big Tune and Science at the same time. And my thought process was, we're going to push Big Tune really hard. And Big Tune is the loud, attention-grabby song. But the people who have been with me for a while are going to appreciate Science. And that's why it was like the reason. Sorry, I'm getting like a trying to connect, make sure you have stable internet.
Yeah,
you
me
see
too.
That?
Yeah, but
it seems
coming in
good,
fine,
though.
so I
Yeah,
don't
we're
know.
still able
Yeah.
to get you.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Let's keep running.
Cool. Yeah, so that's why I did Science, because it was like, I just wanted, after not putting stuff out for so long, I wanted to give people more than one song. And I knew that the people who have been rocking with me for a while would appreciate that song and listen to it, even though I kind of knew the primary focus was going to be Big Tune.
You did mention that on Juniper there are a couple songs that maybe, you know, are your favorite. Do you want to shout those out? Because this will be coming out around the time when the record's out. What songs should people check out that are not the singles?
I think my favorite song on the record right now is called Room for Love. And it's very say anything. It's a little bit, it's one of the more like melancholic dips on the record. It's still like an up-tempo rock song. But yeah, when I listen to the album, I keep listening to that one. I think I connect with what it's about the most and all that. But yeah, it's like, it's weird because it's not, I wouldn't hear it and go, that's the single. You know what I mean? But it might be, I think it's my favorite. Room for Love.
Yeah.
Final answer.
Final answer.
That'll be the selling point now. Everyone's going to go, oh, shit, I got to listen to Room for
They're
Love.
like, this is the new secret single that
Secret
isn't
singles.
actually a single.
Yeah, I hope so.
Next question. And this, we have another question on here about games we play. So maybe we can kind of work that in with this question too. But the question is, what types of collabs would you like to do? It could be producers. It could be somebody who writing with you. It could be somebody who features on a track. And who would you like to do those collaborations with?
I am new in LA, and there's a lot of collaboration that happens here. And I am down to literally get in the room with almost anyone and just see what happens. I'm currently working on a collab with my friend Noelle, who does a project called Noelle Sucks.
Yes.
She's on the Grave Boy label. And she's become a good friend, and we're making a really cool song together. And I think we are going to put it out once the album comes out. So, like, after the album comes out. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of down to like work with anyone. Like I was kind of, doing Northbound and being like the primary songwriter. I was always kind of protective over that role. And now as I get older and I live out here and I see all the benefits of collaborating, like I'm open to doing it with just about anyone. I don't really have like a specific list of people that I like want to work with. But, there's a producer out here named Kyle Black that has done some records that I really, really like. And I would love to get in the room with him. Like, if I could get in the room with Kyle Black and Sam Guyana, who I did my last 2 records with, at the same time, I think we would make some crazy shit. So, yeah. Kyle Black is a producer. He did My Favorite State Champs record, Around the World and Back. And, yeah, I'm down to work with anyone. And I'll also play anywhere. It's just a thing about me. I will play a show in a dumpster. Like, I don't like, I just like to make music and I like to have fun, you know?
That's like the pure like punk DIY ethos that I feel like a lot of people nowadays like don't possess as much anymore because they're always looking for this next bigger best thing, or that they're immediately supposed to be playing like a 500 cap venue when they only have like 1,000 streams on Spotify.
Yeah that's the world I come from. Before Northbound, like I was in a fucking hardcore band. And we toured heavily. And yeah, that's what my roots are, and that's what I still am. And I'm still DIY now, like to this day. Like I don't have a booking agent, I don't have a manager. I have had those things. Those relationships changed or ended or whatever, but like I have the label, but I'm a free agent technically, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm down to be DIY as hell and play anywhere. The only like thing that I have about collaborating is I want to collaborate with anyone that I connect with emotionally. Like if we go to get coffee and it's awkward, I'm not going to create music well with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like based on that more than like what kind of stream somebody has or like what someone's up to or like, you know what I mean? Because there's enough of that in this city, especially like in Los Angeles, just people climbing.
Yeah.
And I feel sometimes for me, like I'm not in the fucking Foo Fighters, but I feel sometimes when I meet people out at a bar and they look up my band and they see that it's not like an inactive or a dead, like people listen, I immediately feel the energy towards me shift. You know what I mean? Like they think that I can give them something, and I'm just like,
yeah,
dude, I'm just like you. Like I'm trying to do the same thing as you. Like I'm not there. You know what I mean?
That is like, I always am like about authenticity and being like, you got to be a real person, and you have to be able to, like you said, sit down, have coffee, talk, chat, and make it like a shared experience that is not just like, what do you do and what can you do for me? And I feel like that is just the conversation about LA all the time. I'm glad that like more people are out there now who are just like, I like moved here from somewhere else, and I'm like, I just want to hang out and like have a good time. And like, I want to play shows in a dumpster and have like 100 people there versus like, I care about having this conversation with somebody at a bar so that I can like basically not do anything different than what I'm doing now. But I feel like I'm moving forward, or I'm working with somebody who means something. Yeah.
Like that energy is pretty gross, and I try to stay away from that. You know what I mean? Like I met this dude at a bar last night who was like, telling me he was a visual artist and stuff, and I was like, oh, we can work together. And like when I asked him for his Instagram, he was like, "Oh, I don't really have like followers like that though." And I was like, "Bro, I don't give a fuck. You're a cool guy.
Yeah.
Like, you're cool. Like, also like I'm new-ish here. Like, I want to make friends. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of comes first to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's weird out here. It's weird out here, especially. Yeah. But there are good people here too. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people say like, "Oh, LA sucks. LA sucks. Everyone there's fake." And I'm like, LA isn't necessarily bad. It's just that it's not Columbia, South Carolina, or wherever you're from. There's millions of people here, and just by that virtue alone, you're gonna meet some people you don't get along with. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
And you're gonna be out of bars with them, and you got to figure it out.
Yeah, and you'll just meet people who obviously just want to climb the social ladder, and usually it's like pretty evident most of the
So
time.
clear.
You can tell. Like, I went out to LA in December, and I ended up hanging out with some friends we already had that were out there. So they already curated like a group of people that they knew who were like normal, chill. But then there was people I would run into. I'm like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And then they'd be like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I have this podcast." They're like, "Oh, show me." And then they would see, and then like depending on what level they were, they would be like really cool with me, or they'd be like, "Oh, okay, nice meeting you," and like dip. And I'm like,
yeah,
finger guns, goodbye.
It's so funny how like you can be out in Los Angeles and for the same fact, like the amount of listeners you have, like someone might treat you like shit because of that. And 10 seconds later, someone might treat you really well because of that. Just based on where they're at. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just try to be normal, dude. Just be regular.
Just have a normal one. I'm begging.
Everyone's on their own journey in that way. It's almost like someone's like, "Hey, it's nice to meet you. This is my name, whatever." It's like, "Hey, can you show me your like resume? Like, can you pull up like your resume right now and let me read through everything you've ever worked on and how you present yourself to any potential employer?" It's like, "Nah, man, I'm just gonna have a PBR, like, and we'll just be here.
Like we're chilling. It's fine."
Yeah, but it's like if you're on that journey and you know that one time you had to be in that same place talking to somebody in the same way, why would you ever treat somebody else like that?
Yeah.
Like it, I don't know. That sucks.
People get twisted up out here for sure, and in general, but like especially here.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look, I run into people who I don't like all the time at bars here, and they're all my friends. And then I hang out with them every weekend.
Same.
It's like these are my best friends. I fucking hate them.
So crazy, Bessie, how that happened.
Yep. Anyway, Lizzie got another question for you.
Jesus Christ.
Lizzie being somebody I hang out with like all the time. She's like, "Is he talking about me?"
No, again, we keep joking. I'm gonna throw you in the middle of the street. That is what it is.
Friendship.
So
hell yeah.
Can we expect any tour dates from Northbound?
We can expect them. We don't know if we're gonna get them though. I really want to tour. I need a booking agent. I just need a booking agent, or I need the powers that be to throw me a bone. You know what I mean? Because I'm 30 years old. All of my friends who would play with me have jobs. I have to be home and work. I got to make my rent. Like I just think like the age of DIY touring, that book has closed in my life. I'm happy to play all over Los Angeles. I'm happy to do flyouts. Like I'm doing a flyout to Michigan in August just to play my buddy's release show. Like I'm more than willing to play and to tour, but it has to make sense. That's just like the real answer. I want to tour badly. I love seeing the band grow when I tour. You know what I mean? But I don't have an agent right now, and it's hard to get a call back from anyone who's doing stuff, because unfortunately there's like 4 people who literally run the game in terms of touring at this level, you know?
Yeah.
And some of them are friends of mine, but anytime I'm like, "Yeah, what would you think about picking me up?" oh, I got a lot on my plate right now, or oh, whatever. So it's like, it's weird. And I don't want to push it with people that I'm friends with either. You know what I mean? I don't want to be classic LA guy. Like, what can you do for me? So, yeah, I will tour. I want to tour. I just don't want to go broke and like take my friends on tour and not be able to pay them. And like, you know what I mean? Because it's like, no one cares about the band the way I do, and they shouldn't, because it's not their thing. You know what I mean? And everyone, like my buddy Sterling, is like the most talented guy I know. One of my best friends. He's got his own band. He plays in my band, but it's like he's got his own band, and like to take him away from his girlfriend and his cat and his own band to go like, you know, play DIY shows with me for free. It's like, I feel bad.
It's a hard sell, and
That is, yeah.
It's a very hard sell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless
So-
he is also going through a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah, which he is, you know, because we're best friends, and he is, you know what I mean? But yeah, so I didn't give you a very PR answer there. I gave you the truth.
That's the true answer.
About that. Like, I want to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to. I don't know. There's a bit in my band that like State Champs just takes us on tour every 3 years, because that's what happened for a while. They've taken us out a handful of times, and like every time they take us out, like the band literally like doubles in size.
Yeah.
And then like we're not consistently on tour, so that momentum kind of goes away slowly. But yeah, I would love to be on tour.
So has it almost been 3 years for State Champs to come back?
Yeah.
Come on back.
They gotta hit you up.
It's been like exactly 3 years.
Oh,
The last-
damn! Here we go.
Yeah.
The last tour we did was it's been a little more than 3 years actually. It was right before COVID. We were out with them and Simple Plan, and it was fucking insane. It was the coolest shit ever. But yeah, you know, what's meant to be will be.
Yeah.
I can't ask them for any more favors. Those guys have taken care of me for so long. I'm just like, don't even post my shit. Like, I don't want anything from you. I love you guys.
Hey, Derek.
But
Hey,
if
you
you
wanna
need me, I'm
just-
right here.
Yeah. If we can do anything to help you in Chicago, you can always hit us up. We'll
That would be awesome.
hook
Thank
you up
you.
with any venue.
Yeah.
We don't. I mean, I don't know how much they pay, but at least we can say we know a place that will put you on.
Oh, dude. I mean, I don't care about that. I just, especially like, that's cool. The cool thing is like I can do flyouts and like just me play. You know what I mean? And like I've done that so many times where I just like eat the cost, or I like hope to make up the cost on merch or something like that, because I just want to go play. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
We're here for
that
it
would be
if you need
sick.
it here.
Thank you.
That's all of our questions. So yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll end the conversation here. But before we do, I want to make sure you have a chance to shout out where people can stream the record. This will be out right around Juniper. So where can they find your music? Where can they follow you on the internet to find out more if tour dates ever come? Where they can find out where the tour dates will be? Yeah, promote yourself, I guess, a little bit about the music and the stuff on the internet.
Cool. Well, all the socials are Northbound FL. I'll never change that despite where I live.
Yep.
The music is available anywhere you listen to music, whether that be Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, if that's your jam, Tidal.
Hell yeah.
Trying to think of any other obscure streaming platforms. Everywhere. Aside from that, whenever we do have tour dates, they're up at northboundfl.com. Everything is Northbound FL. Yeah. Jam Juniper. Jam Juniper.
Being that you're on Smart Punk, is there plans for a vinyl for the record, or
Yeah.
just digital? Because people can support
Yeah.
you by buying that vinyl too.
Oh, you're smarter than I am. Yeah, you could go on the Smart Punk website, and depending on when this actually comes out, you can either pre-order the record on vinyl, or you can just buy it on vinyl. There's 3 really cool like variations, different colors and stuff. There's like a Smart Punk exclusive. There's like a band exclusive that like we're gonna have. It's like the only ones we're gonna sell when we play shows. And then there's another one too, and they're all sick. That's at Smart Punk. I think it's smartpunkshop.com.
I think that's right.
Yeah. we've worked with them a bunch of times, so I'm like, it's always vinyl with Smart Punk. So
Yeah.
if we ever
Yeah.
work with their artists, I'm always like, let's push that. Let's like sell the physical product, right? Because I'm like, guys,
Yeah.
we all know the struggle with Spotify streams. It's like, let's at least like get people on the Bandcamp and like supporting you with actual
Yeah.
dollars in your pocket.
Yeah, you set me up with the layup on the vinyl. 'Cause I completely
clip
forgot
that.
about that.
We'll clip that and send it because we're friends with them at Smart Punk. Be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
hey, hey, we're helping out here, homie.
Yep.
See you at Riot Fest.
See you at Fest.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, make sure if you're listening to this, if you're checking this out, that you go and stream Northbound. Juniper is out on July 12th. So if you're listening to this before, make sure you pre-save it. Go get the vinyl. Go do the stuff. And follow Northbound FL everywhere. Support Florida in LA. Never change the name. It's always
won't.
Florida. Yeah. But yeah, until we eventually see you in Chicago or somewhere else, Jonathan, thanks for coming on the pod and hanging out with us. And yeah,